Hey guys, it's Elithien, and along with Emrys, we are Girls with Sabers. This is part 2 of our Reylo psychology series, where we discuss Rey, and how, in our opinion, we believe her characteristics line up with being an XNFP, but we lean towards extroverted, according to the Keirsey temperament sorter model. Again, we aren't professionals, we are just two gals who thought it would be super fun and interesting to analyze 100% fictional characters. Shout out to Nathaniel Matichik. So sorry if I just butchered your name, Nathaniel, but you left a great comment on our part 1 video last week. I have done a lot of arguing back and forth over Kylo's MBTI type. Such an excellent point, Nathaniel, and that's what we find so awesome about this wonderful community. We all see different things in these characters, which cause us all to relate to them and love them in such a unique way. With Kylo Ren / Ben Solo, yes, we characterized him as an INTJ, but since he is such a dynamic character, he can be interchangeable with other types. It's quite remarkable. So thank you so much for reminding us all of that. As always, make sure to like the video, leave a comment, you may get a shout out, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
We haven't talked about Rey's personality yet, but we believe that she's an idealist, an NF, which means she's intuitive, but instead of thinking with her head and logistics, she thinks with her heart. She's also extremely impulsive and impatient. Yeah. She's not a planner. She's not a judger. She's a perceiver. Yeah. So we believe she's either an ENFP or an INFP. And in Keirsey, if you're kind of like in between one letter, you're considered an X. Yeah. Like an XNFP. There's another word for it also called an ambivert, which means that you can adjust from being an extrovert to an introvert depending on the situation. And you see Rey doing that a lot. Like, she can live isolated and she can live, like, she glows when there's people around her. So there's very much of an extroverted part of her. In Keirsey's name, and this is one of the reasons I love Keirsey, is the description of these idealists. In Keirsey's words, an INFP is an idealist healer, which means that they yearn to heal the conflict within themselves and the conflict with others. Like, Keirsey describes them as the princesses of the fairy tale, or the princes, the knights of the fairy tale. Like, they want to come in and they want to heal everyone and give them that healing elixir. And you have Father Christmas giving Lucy that little healing liqueur. And so she goes around and she heals everyone. Those gifts reflect those personalities. So Rey has that same idealist healer, but the ENFP means the idealist champion. Which means,
I was reading a lot about champion today, and every sentence that I finished, I was like, that's Rey. That's Rey. That's Rey. Yeah. That's Rey. It's so interesting that both of us, and when you said to me, you know, she's definitely an NF, but I'm and a P, but I'm grappling with going between E and I. And it makes sense because I feel her environment has created the I. But if she had grown up in probably, you know, a loving household, you know, on a normal planet, I think the extrovert in her would definitely have been able to flourish a bit more. Not to say she would not have been an introvert, but I think that extroverted side would have been fed. She's keenly perceptive of a lot of different possibilities, where things excite her, where the adrenaline of even flying the Falcon. I mean, you look at how she felt after flying it, and Finn was in the gunner's position, and then, you know, they escape and they come out and they're circling each other and they're like, oh my God, you did this and you did that. And oh my God, did you see that? I mean, they're so excited. It was a very Luke Skywalker moment where, you know, you see Han flying the ship and Luke's shooting down TIE fighters, and he's just, everyone's ecstatic, of course, but Luke is just like, yeah. And
well, Luke is an INFP, and that's funny,
right.
because most Jedis are idealists.
Mm-hmm.
There's like only one Jedi who skews rational, and that's Yoda.
It'll be interesting to see her interactions with the Resistance now that, I mean, what's left of it, but other people now that she's back with them. It'll be interesting to see her interactions with them, her interactions with Finn, her interactions with Rose and Poe, and everyone else for that matter. It'll be interesting to see if they treat her like she's one of them, or they hold her up on this pedal now and it's something that she can't handle because she's being revered like she revered
Luke,
Han, and idea of the Jedi. She's not only idolized Han, now she's idolizing Luke as Leia as well, and Ben even said that to her, you know, especially about Han. You know, you're going to be disappointed. NFPs, whether they're INFPs or ENFPs, they can be completely and utterly disappointed when
yes.
reality fails to fulfill their expectations.
Yes.
I wrote that all in caps and underlined it 3 times because that is pretty much Rey's almost her entire storyline so far.
And to realize that the fairy tales that she grew up with were from real people with real skin and with real lives. Like, she could meet them, she could touch them. That blew her mind. Because the person who told her that Luke Skywalker wasn't a myth was Finn. And so I think once she realized she was on the Falcon and she was meeting Han, I think that's why, because that was the first person from her fairy tales that was.
Well, it was Han too.
Yeah, it was
Han too saying,
yeah,
this is all true. The Jedi, the Force, all of it. It's all true.
So it's like if someone, it's like that Galaxy Quest of you first hear the fairy tales, you grew up with the fairy tales, and then you meet people were talking about how there was no monomyth, there was no wizard that relayed the spiritual or the mystical forces for the hero. That was Han.
Yeah.
That was Han. Han acted as the wizard. Han acted as the one that switched on the key and said yes. He was the non-believer who was telling other non-believers that the fantasy is real. And when you listen to it, I think some of the Mary Sue where people are like, everyone loves Rey. It's because that's how champions give you that impression when you're around them.
Yeah.
You absolutely light up people's lives and you don't even seem to notice you're doing it. On the best days, life is an adventure with you. And on the worst days, you're right down in the trenches alongside the people you love. Nothing is ever strange enough, intense enough, or twisted enough to scare you off. And isn't that how she is with Kylo?
Oh my God,
twisted
completely.
Enough to scare you off.
She is Elizabeth Bennet.
Yeah.
She is Jane Eyre. I mean, she has just enough gumption and just enough heart. And I swear to God, if we get the thread quote from Jane Eyre between Ben and Rey.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm just as full of spirit, and I have just enough spirit and just enough heart, and I want to make it as hard for you to leave me as I to leave you. Yeah. And your spirit speaks to my spirit. If we get any more lines from Pride and Prejudice and lines from Jane Eyre, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't care if it's not original. I'm going to freaking gobble it up stuffing on Thanksgiving Day.
Then I mean, Kylo to respond like Rochester responded.
Yes.
I have 2 strings connected to your heart, connected to my heart, right under my rib cage, and if that string to break, it would rip my heart, and I would bleed inwardly. Oh my gosh! Okay, sorry, we're fanning out. You can fan out with us. The rest of that quote is, your emotional intensity and depth is matched only by your seemingly impossible optimism, and everyone you love is much better off for having you in their lives. If that's not Ray, I don't know what is.
Characteristics are adventurous, beauty lovers. I mean, she, from Takodana to Ahch-To to other places she's been, I mean, when it's just flipping raining on Ahch-To, I mean, she takes time to just stand there and take it all in. So she loves that beauty. Plus, I think that she'll be like Anakin and she'll hate sand. She is very charismatic and charming. I think we'll see that with the Resistance as well, which is probably going to be a very hard thing for some of the Resistance members to do, especially Finn and Rose. If we do get Dark Dameron and he exiles Rey, some of those members are going to be, what the heck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to have to do it on the DL. Like, it's going to be all-out war, which means there's going to be infighting in the Resistance. There's going to be infighting in the New Order, or the First Order, and there's going to be infighting within the Resistance.
Yeah, I agree.
So all-out war is flipping everywhere, and no one is safe. Curious, creative. We see the creativity with the doll and the stuff that was in her at home. That was very creative.
And fixing things.
Yep, fixing things.
And salvaging things is a creative form.
Mm-hmm. Independent, observant, passionate, people-oriented, sensitive, understanding, very emotional. And the last one I underlined and circled and highlighted and exclamation points. It's the leading characteristic, compassionate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she can straddle both introvert and extrovert. She can be both, and she can still be a healer and be both.
Yeah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, most definitely. You know how we saw those bridges in the moon board that was released? I was thinking about that. I know people were saying that's a symbol of the world between worlds, and I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm wondering if that is actually representational of Reylo itself, because there was always the breaking of bridges between them. You had the chasm in The Force Awakens that divided them apart. You have this saber split that divided them apart. You have them actually closing the door on the other that divided them apart. I think the bridges in the mood board are actually events and things that actually are going to bring them together, where they realize that they cannot have success unless they're together.
It's going to be Leia's death.
That, or I think it's also going to be where they actually, I think there's many bridges where they actually, I think that's going to be an emotional bridge.
Yes.
But I think it's going to also be a bridge of getting the galaxy back to where it needs to be as a balance. And they're going to realize in war and battling against Hux and Poe, of the extremist of the sides, they're going to have to work together to restore balance to the galaxy.
Rey is only going to, I think Leia, like you said, her death could be a funeral scene. It could be, something like that will be the emotional bridge. There needs to be an intellectual bridge. Rey needs to struggle.
Yeah.
We've said it before. We need to see her struggle. That is, we don't believe she's a Mary Sue. She might have some Mary Sue tendencies, She might have a few Mary Sue plot devices, but deep down, she is not a Mary Sue.
No.
And in order to get over this, we need to see her struggle a bit more. And I think the way we will see her struggle is with the fact that C-3PO could only translate those Jedi texts so much in the Poe Dameron comics. There is nobody Leia can't help her. Leia might be able to read a bit, but she can't help her. And the only person that can help her is Ben Solo, because you know damn well Ben Solo has seen those books and has read them and can understand them and can translate them. And if he can't do it 100%, he at least, knows enough to start helping her, because now, technically, he is the one in the film that's left with the most Jedi training.
Yes.
And so we need to see her struggle. We need to see an intellectual bridge. She's going to need to go to him. Mm-hmm. She's going to need to get answers, which means they both need to possibly get answers. And
which brings us to what we were talking about, which is Myers-Briggs, mm-hmm. where the wonderful thing about the rational is that they need a person that's going to motivate the people. They need a person's person. And you have the rational who has the strategy, but you have the idealist, which we believe Rey is definitely an idealist, who's going to rally the people and get the people behind him. So she is the emotion. He's the intellect. He is her mind mate. She is his soulmate, meaning they complete each other in the way that they lead.
Hello, this is Emrys, and with Elithien, thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click on that little bell icon that will give you notifications every time we post a new one. And of course, like, comment, and do all those things. Peace, love, and Reylo, guys.
All magic comes with a price.